So I'm not going to do videos about the specific trades from today because for me, Brendan Smith for a third round pick this year and a second round pick next year is a minor-ish deal. And I throw in the ish because basically Smith becomes the guy that the Rangers had probably second on their list after Shattenkirk. I think he was second on everybody's list after Shattenkirk. Brendan Smith makes the Rangers that much better. Here's the problem. Uh, Dan Girardi was just put on the IR. So in essence, he's replacing Girardi. Victor Stalberg is traded to the Senators for a third-round pick. The Senators are all in. My question is this: are the Senators good enough to be all in? See, I get it with the Capitals. I get it with the Capitals and Shattenkirk, and I still don't get it. I still don't understand trading one of your top two defensemen and not getting a player back who's in your roster. Now, I put other moves on this board because there's some interesting moves. So the Canucks call up Borna Radulich. They call up Richard Bachman. Richard Bachman being the number 3 goaltender. Cue the speculation about Ryan Miller being on the way out. I think there's two reasons here. One is Ryan Miller is on the market, and they're looking at possibly getting rid of him. And two, the mumps are really going around the team. Maybe one of their goalies has been showing symptoms, and they're not talking about it yet. And I wish that wasn't a thing, but it is. Washington calls up Jakub Vrana. After I'm done this video, I intend to turn the TV on and watch the Capitals and the Rangers because that should be a really entertaining game. No scoring until I start watching. Riley Barber being called up. These are two young kids I've wanted to watch, so I don't know yet if they're in the lineup or not. But I would assume that Washington calls them up because they intend to play them. The interesting name here is the Islanders giving a shot to Joshua Ho-Sang. Now, whether Ho-Sang actually plays or if this is a situation like a certain player the Canucks keep calling up and not playing, who knows? But Ho-Sang is a first rounder. He is a polarizing figure. He's a guy who I don't know. I don't know if Ho-Sang is going to be an Islander 24 hours from now, or if he's on the or if somebody else is on the move, or what's going on here. But I think there's something going on with the Islanders. Toronto sent Gauthier down. That's because they got Boyle. Buchnevich gets sent down by the Rangers. Verone and Blunden sent down by Ottawa, and Jordan Subban sent down by the Canucks. I don't know how many people have to get the measles for Jordan Subban to be allowed to play. Apparently, it's the entire team, and maybe the entire Utica team as well. There has to be a major hole in Jordan Subban's game for the Canucks to keep sending him down. There has to be a major hole in his game. And I've heard defense. It's weird because I've seen defensemen in the NHL before that can't play defense. Sometimes they learn, like Jack Johnson. Sometimes they're Tom Curvers. But I've seen it where guys will play in the NHL that don't have the defense. And maybe it's a combination of the fact that he doesn't have the defensive acumen and the fact that he's small. Now, waivers. There was a number of guys on waivers. Marc-Andre Bergeron and Chris DiDomenico are on waivers because they were signed and haven't played in the NHL. So there's a rule that if you get signed during the season and you haven't played in the NHL, you get signed to a brand new contract. You have to clear waivers first. The Ryan O'Reilly rule that the Calgary Flames forgot about when they signed him and could have lost him on waivers if Colorado hadn't matched their contract offer. So nobody's picking up Marc-Andre Bergeron. Nobody's picking up DiDomenico. Bergeron's a good depth guy for Columbus. He's a power play specialist, basically solely a power play specialist. Other signings, Michael Roosevelt and Jordan Tutu were signed to extensions by the Chicago Blackhawks. This is largely seen as an expansion move. Apparently for expansion, players have to have played a certain number of games and they cannot be on an expiring contract. So you're going to see a lot of guys, a lot of veterans getting signed for another year because teams want to expose them for the expansion draft. And I don't think Roosevelt or Tutu, I don't think losing them would cripple the Blackhawks in any way. So that's what those signings are about. Now, back to waivers, which is where I meant to get. I didn't put everybody who's on waivers down. I put the two that interest me. Eric Fair for Pittsburgh interests me in that I think he's got something left to give to the right team. He seemed to be good for Washington, as I remember it. I don't know that Fair would get claimed, but I also don't know that if he clears that Pittsburgh necessarily sends him to the minors. He may stay in the lineup. This may be a situation where Pittsburgh wants to pick up some money, and Fair's the guy that they're trying to see if somebody will take him for free. Yoki Paka out of Calgary. I don't know what's wrong with this kid. I was upset when Dallas traded him a year ago for Chris Russell. Now Calgary's given up on him. Clearly, there's some massive hole in his game I haven't seen. When I've watched him play, I've seen a decent depth defenseman. Not remarkable, but man, for that name, I love that name. I could see the Canucks making a pick. I could see the Canucks picking him up because of the fact that Hutton, Trampkin, Tanev, and Stetcher all have the mumps. So I could see the Canucks stepping up and going, yeah, we'll take all of the defensemen on waivers. All of them. We don't think you have enough contract room. It's fine. We'll just take all. Do mumps count as contracts? They count as contracts? Well, screw us in the right ear then. I could see the Canucks making a play for Yokopaka. I could. I could also see Boston picking him up because I don't like Boston's depth on the blue line, and I don't think Boston likes their depth on the blue line. But again, you can try to sneak guys through at the deadline the same as you do at the start of the year. You use waivers to get guys into the minors before teams know what they have. You can use waivers to send guys down before a team knows whether or not they want somebody because they don't know what's going to happen at the deadline. So that's part of it too. What else did I miss here? Oh, I got the whole board. Look at that. So this is what happens when I organize my thoughts. We end up with a situation where I've got everything here. Ottawa sending down Verone and London. That's because they've picked up Stalberg and Burrows. And this is some very interesting stuff that's going on right now because some of these guys getting called up is because trades are going to get made. There's anticipation by the GMs that trades are going to get made. It's not to showcase somebody. Like, let's say the Islanders were going to showcase Ho-Sang. They would have called him up a few weeks ago. Ho-Sang is what he is. I'm surprised it wasn't Del Colli, actually. I'm surprised Del Colli didn't get called up. So Ho-Sang coming up instead of Del Colli, and I don't care about AHL stats. And honestly, I don't know the GMs in the NHL do either. It's usually just more of a which prospect do they feels more NHL ready, and that doesn't always translate to AHL points. There are plenty of players who put up really good points in the AHL and never really get a good crack at the NHL. So let me know what you guys think, because there's some minor moves going on here. I consider Brendan Smith for the Rangers to be a minor move. I consider Stalberg for Ottawa to be a minor move. And not to take anything away from those players, but this is not the earth-shattering moves. I think part of what's going on is that a lot of moves have been made. But in terms of impact on a team, there hasn't been that really big impact move other than Shattenkirk. Shattenkirk is life-altering, potentially, for the Capitals, because they just picked up a top 2 defenseman for nothing off their roster. The Hansel deal for Minnesota is good, and Ryan White, full points to him for the way he played last night. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow. My intention tomorrow is simple. This board will be all cleaned off, and I will be putting up who's gone where, from where, and then we'll get into how the rosters have potentially changed. Who's suddenly going to see themselves as a healthy scratch or waiver fodder, starting at the deadline tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through. Okay, this is one of the many ways that I have put money back into the channel when money comes through the channel. And today I've found a particularly ugly ensemble. So I hope people will respect that it is the ugliest hat I could find with the ugliest jersey I could find. It is a fantastic, I mean, it's awe-inspiring, really, it is. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Again, let me know what you guys think of the moves. Again, I think Smith is a stopgap. When Girardi gets back, we can start talking about whether or not the Rangers are better on the blue line. And Stalberg is an improvement on the bottom six for Ottawa, and they need that. They need that depth. And I think Ottawa now with Burrows and Stalberg, I think they've got a little more sandpaper, and I think there's a little more to like about them in a playoff series with Boston. If that's how it turns out, than there would have been a couple weeks ago. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all again real soon.